Hey guys, it's Ryan with Mom on Mission. If this is your first time here, I am a Christ-following, book-loving wife and a homeschool mom to 3 boys. So please subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you can be alerted every time we upload a video on anything homeschool, book related, or biblical womanhood related. So today is my monthly book recs and what's next. And this is just where I share what we've been reading in our homeschool, what each of my kids have been reading, and what I personally have been reading. And I do this just because I like getting ideas from other people on what they're reading, and so I wanted to share my ideas with you. So I'm going to start doing this a little bit backwards because I know a lot of people are really more interested in the homeschool stuff, and so I'm going to add my personal picks at the end of the video instead of at the beginning. So for our read alouds for the month of September, we read By the Shores of Silver Lake by Laura Ingalls Wilder. I believe this is her 5th book in the Little House series, and we loved this book. I was so surprised by how much my boys loved this book. We went on a field trip to one of her homes, and so we tried to hurry up and finish this before we went, and we did finish it. And usually we read one of hers and then read a couple other books and then come back to the next one of hers, just because I don't want to wear them out on them. And I didn't really think that they loved them. I knew they kind of liked them. But as soon as we finished this, they asked to start The Long Winter. And so we have started this. We're about halfway through this, and they are loving it just as much as they loved the last one. So I don't know if they've just gotten a little bit older since we first started and they're liking it more, or I don't know what, but they're loving this series. Our Sunlight reading, I think last time I talked to you guys about books, we were reading Charlotte's Web, finishing it up. Well, when that was over, forgive this copy, it is very used. This is Homer Price. So we read this for Sunlight, and my boys really enjoyed this. It was more of like a bunch of short stories, in my opinion. I thought it would be more kind of like a novel. It follows the same people around, of course, but each chapter was more like, what crazy antics is the town going to get into? But they both really loved this. They gave it a 5 stars. And then after Homer Price, we have started Mr. Popper's Penguins for our Sunlight. This is a reread for us. We already read this a year or 2 ago, but it's a pretty short read, so we didn't mind rereading it. And my boys think it's really funny, so they're loving that so far. And then my 4th grader, he read, while he was waiting on book 3 of the Wings of Fire, he read the graphic novel version of it because it wasn't in at our library, but the graphic novel was, and he loved it. He gave it a 5 stars. My boys both love that kind of comic book type stuff. And then he went ahead and read the 4th one, which is The Dark Secret, and he gave that a 4 stars. Then he went back, and when book 3 came into the library, he read it. So that was The Hidden Kingdom. So he read the graphic novel and then went back and read the regular novel, but he only gave it a 4 stars. Apparently the graphic novel was better. Then just kind of as a fun, easy read, he read Space Mice, The Galactic Goal, which is a Geronimo Stilton book. He loves to do these just for kind of like speed reads. He reads this in one setting, but he thinks they're fun. And his little brother is really into them now too. And then for Sunlight, oh wait, there's one more. He also read Boxcar Children, The Lighthouse Mystery. He never like seeks these out, but I like pull them from the library shelves and just put them in his bag, and then he always like blazes through them and really enjoys them. So again, kind of a speed read for him. I think he just spent 2 days on this, but as long as they're reading, I don't really care. And then for Sunlight, he read Ralph S. Mouse by Beverly Cleary. This was another reread for him. And he gave this 4 stars. He has a lot of 4 stars this month. And then he read The Children of Noisy Village by Astrid Lindgren, and he gave this a 5 stars. He thought it was really funny. So, and then he's currently reading and is close to finishing up Betsy and Tacy Go Over the Big Hill by Maud Hart Lovelace. Again, this is one of those that he thought he wasn't gonna like because of the cover. I mean, 2 little girls on the front, and it's called Betsy and Tacy, you know. But he's actually liking it, I think, so far. So then for my second grader, this month was a big picture book month for him. He's just at that age where he's just really getting a hang of reading well. And he can read chapter books, but they kind of, he likes the accomplishment of reading a picture book, I think is what it is. So I don't really care that he's reading a bunch of picture books because, again, he's reading. So that's all that I care about. So he finished off My Name is Stilton, Geronimo Stilton. We had to take that one back. And he gave that 4 stars. Then he has started and is about a third to a half way through A Cheese-Colored Camper. I asked him if he would please read something else in between the Geronimo Stiltons, just to kind of broaden his variety, but he refused, so here we go. And then he asked if he could share a couple of picture books because he's been really into them lately. And I said, sure. So he wanted to share I Am a Tiger by Carl Newson and Ross Collins. And I had to make sure because we accidentally checked out a book from the library last month or a few weeks ago that had a similar-ish title and was very much pushing the gender fluidity narrative, which we do not agree with. So I had to kind of flip through this one, but this is not the same thing. The mouse does indeed think he is a tiger, but he's just sorely mistaken, and he misnames all these different animals, and it's really funny. And you'll find a theme. My boys like funny things, especially my middle child. So then his other favorite was Big Bad Baby by Bruce Hale. You'll hear my 2-year-old. It's close to bedtime. Daddy has him though. And I really think he likes this one because it reminds him of his 2-year-old brother. So this baby tries to get in a lot of trouble and then doesn't think it's enough trouble, so he makes himself giant and then gets in a ton of trouble and wreaks havoc on the town. And again, my kids thought it was hilarious. So there you go. Of course, there's like some bathroom humor and stuff in it, so cheap laughs, whatever. And then for Sunlight, he is still reading through the Beginner's Bible. Again, I don't love this, but I mean, there's nothing I hate about it. It's just kind of very surfacey and whatever, but he's reading it, so that's great. So I wanted to share one book that is a fall book that we had to take back, but all of my kids enjoyed it, and my nieces and nephew were over and I read it to them and they really enjoyed it. And it is called Sneeze, a Big Bear Sneeze by Maureen Wright. And it is about a bear sneezing and all these crazy things that are happening because he sneezes. And really it's the fall, autumn wind doing all of this for him. So it's very funny, has kind of a good, fun fall feel to it. Now on to what I read this month. I finished up Glimpses of Grace by Gloria Furman. I think I said a long time ago that I was going to start this and then I never did, and this month I finally read it all. And this is actually a really good book. So the tagline is Treasuring the Gospel in Your Home. And I knew I would like it because I read Gloria Furman before and she is a great author. And so this is all about how to bring sorry, I just read coffee filter, how to bring the gospel into your home, into the mundane things of life, and how to prioritize the gospel over annoyances, and just how to keep that right attitude about things, which is something I struggle with a lot. And so this was an excellent read. Then I am kind of slowly going through. It's a daily devotional and I'm not quite like sticking to it daily. Sometimes I read 2 of the entries. Sometimes I just read 1. Sometimes I don't read it. But this is From Grouchy to Great, Finding Joy in the Journey of Motherhood by Ruth Schwenk. And I wasn't going to get this because Facebook kept recommending it to me and I felt very targeted. But if you watched my last video on patience, I was lacking some, and so this is probably for me. I need to learn how to be less grouchy. So I'm not sure 100% what I think about it yet, but I'll let you know once I finish it up. Then I also finished up The Screw Tape Letters by C.S. Lewis. This is, I'm sure you've heard of it. If not, it is basically one demon writing back and forth to another demon, talking about winning the soul of a man. And it's very obviously fiction, but I kept reading this and thinking like, when did he write this? Because it is very applicable to today. And yeah, I would definitely recommend it if you've never read it. It is quite interesting. Yeah, it was just kind of strange. And I also started the book Momma, and this is edited by Tony and Carolee Rinke, but there's a bunch of different contributors: Rachel Jankovic, Gloria Furman, Christina Fox, Carolyn McCauley, and a lot of those women I look up to. So, so far, so good. I'll let you know on that one too. And I'm sure you're sick of seeing it, but I'm still reading The Pinderwicks on Gardam Street by Jeannie Birdsall. This is the second book in the series. I just keep forgetting that I'm reading this because I've been reading all this nonfiction and Screwtape Letters, which, like I said, is fiction, but it doesn't always feel like fiction. And so I just keep forgetting about it, but I will finish this, I promise. And then I am also reading, I just started this, The Girl Behind the Red Rope. It's by Ted Decker and Rochelle Decker. And I used to be a huge Ted Decker fanatic. There's, well, you can't see them, they're down on the lower shelf, but there's a ton of Ted Decker on this bookshelf. My husband introduced me to them when we were dating, and I loved so many of his books. But then some of his newer stuff I kind of thought was kind of almost new agey, weird feeling. I didn't really like it. But I decided to give this one a try after reading a little bit about it, and so far it is really good. It's kind of in a dystopian, almost Handmaiden Tale society. I've never watched that show or read the book, but I get the premise. But there's none of the like political jargon in it, like none of that stuff. And then in true Ted Decker fashion, there are these beings that you're not sure if they're real or if they're not. So it's kind of creepy, but it's not like a horror or anything. It's just, I don't know, Ted Decker-ish. I don't know what genre that would be, but I really am loving it so far. And I think I'm about a third of the way through it. So then what I will be reading next month, I showed you those 4 books, those 2 novels, and then the 2 nonfiction that I am going to be finishing up this month. But then I'll also be starting the Read Aloud Family by Sarah Mackenzie, and I plan on reading Missing or Murdered in Missouri. So if you didn't know, that's where I live, is in Missouri. Unsolved and Solved Cases by Barbara Kim Heighton. So I think this is just kind of like maybe a local author. I didn't read too much into. Yes, she's from Missouri. So I really love true crime. If you know anything about me, it's very fascinating to me. And so just hearing some stories maybe from you know, my state, I just thought would be interesting. It's kind of a quick read, but I thought this would be kind of a fun, I guess true crime's not fun, but you know what I mean, an enjoyable book to read this month. So let me know down below what you're reading, either in your homeschool or just you personally. I love getting new ideas, like I said at the beginning. If you haven't, please subscribe, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.